Okay, so I'm ready to play. I have it set up before. The refresher on the rules helped me. I hope it gave some information to those of you who watched it. Within that, refresher, intro, whatever, came forth the central premise in the game, that initial choice that the evil player has to make. I have this huge stack of forces. They all come in one hex. Now, I usually bring them in here, and I think I will again. I cannot deny, because, very simply, not hitting the keeper, not killing him, and of course he has a reasonable chance of surviving even in battle. However, I can use the death rune to try to cast spells at him and finish him off that way. But not killing him means that wherever I hit, unless I wipe out all the personages, all the heroes, they're going to be free to go try to summon him. And once that happens, I'm not positioned anymore to hit him absolutely. He's too valuable with that high Serenity rune value. He can get too many pluses in his spell casting. You know, he can get that +2 and then start swinging other countries, maybe even Zola Harasler, over to him. And that would cause great problems. There are alternatives that work to that. A landing here could kill this fella. Of course, he's got the sword Loslam, which can finish off my big guys. But if I hit it quickly, I can get that out of the way. And then I can hand that off as a weapon to someone else to use. Another alternative is over here. This fellow with his cav. I've got, in both cases though, let's see, here I've got 2 cities I've got to wipe out, although this one is less important. Over here I've got 3 that I've got to hit, and it's hard to get to this one, although I can land here and send some vampires across. I don't seem to remember, I don't remember if vampires had a difficulty. I seem to remember they had some difficulty crossing the rivers from other things perhaps, but they may enter but not move through hexes containing rivers. Okay. But there's no rivers here. There is one here, and it can be a serious terrain issue. So an initial strike on one of these 2, I might be able to finish off the hero at least as easily as I can finish this off. And that might put me in a position where I can set myself up for the next attack. What's the next attack? Well, I don't know. We'll think about that for a moment. Over here, Filari, this is a tough kingdom to take out all at once. I could take out the hero of the kingdom in this, but it would become difficult to take out these additionals, which means my production wouldn't go up quickly. Now that's not a terribly big deal, because it's this has a production of 24. 24 divided by 5, and that's the divisor you use for the vampire control, is less than 5. I'd only have 4 vampires that I could support out of all of Filari. Well, that means I'm not going to be growing my vampires off that production. That's the same kind of issue that hits me with Lamaric and Loimeric. They're just not producing enough to give me a big jump in vampires. So then I have to have a what's next after that. That's an important consideration. A strike on the side, probably fairly easy, although I've got this mountain stronghold here that I'm not going to be able to get my siege engine to, or off of if I get it to. That would be a serious bad location to start my attack. The problem there, of course, is Tal Pletor has a hard time taking the side out on its own. It's not very powerful. It's got some 2-point military units, but it also has these 1-point guards. It just doesn't have a strong army. I'd have to build up its army to be able to take the side out. So, I feel at this point, okay, there's 2 choices, 3 choices really, here, here, and here, that I could do quickly. What from there? Well, From here, I'm used to going after a Hotzierin. What's interesting there is I've got 2 leaders here. Now, what if I did an initial land in a Hotzierin? I might be able to get both of them. I probably can't take the whole territory, but I can take it eventually. And that allows me to hold 11 vampires once I conquer that. Problem? I don't have my siege engine right away to hit Starkeep, but I can sail it over there on a boat. So it's possible to make the attack here first and then launch here. Another possibility? Well, another one is over here at Calaran. The problem here is there's 3 leaders I have to wipe out. That makes the world a lot more difficult. It's too easy to bring this into play. It's too likely someone's going to survive. So I always write that one off. So then the big questions become, okay, so here and here are definite options. But let's go over here to the Lemerich-Loimerich. Where would I move from there after I land there with my vampires? If I land into Loimerich, I'm in a worse position to attack Calarian. I could, however, sail down. Don't really want to muster a monster there. I could bring. I think mustering undead also triggers entry. So I've got a lot of real questions in my head as to how I'm going to be able to get into Calarian. Basically, there's just too many risks. If I hit here, I'm not really in a great position to strike here, and I'm in no follow-up position. The only other kingdom that I'm next to is Zola Osler, and that to me is just a mistake to hit first. So I'm stuck in the same mindset again and again. Starkeep and or Ohatzir. Which one do I go for first? It's an interesting question. It really is. I usually used to hit Starkeep first, but then it's hard to get my siege train down to Ohatzir. Whereas in the other direction, if I can kill these 2 guys, I can move over there. And here's the point. Starkeep's only worth 16 points production. I'm not going to get new vampires off that. Ohatzieren's worth 56. I get 1 new vampire plus any that I lose once I conquer it. So it's the big point total. It's the place I want to take. Assuming I don't want to go right for here. Which would be an interesting choice. All the leaders are in one place here. If I could just strike this and wipe it out in the first turn and kill all those leaders, I've got the game won. Because then it becomes very hard. Even with that big 90 production, or 91, I'm not sure which one it's supposed to be. They're double printed there. Even with that huge production, the Empire is still just not able to do much as long as it has no leaders. But if I leave just 1 leader escape, Starkeep can open into the game. My first strike is my strongest hit in the game until I start getting allies and building up. My belief has always been to go for the longer game, and I'm going to do that here and not go for this. I've never tried it. That would open things up to the kingdom player very quickly. Now, all of this kind of brings to mind, okay, I'm making this one big decision with the Dark Emperor, and especially if I hit here or here and try to knock them out first thing in the game and prevent the kingdom player from getting to do anything early, then I'm in this position where it's almost a solitaire game. And that's one of the kind of cool things to me about this game, because I do play mainly solitaire. But I have to say, when I've sat down and plotted out what I'm going to do, I almost always play the Emperor because I think it's got the... I think it's harder to win with the Emperor. And I also think that it's the, you know... It's the role that requires the more effort and the more knowledge and understanding of the system to play well. But it's boring as hell for the new player to just be sitting there and watching me play a solitaire game all over them. Whereas it would be actually kind of fun for me to let someone else play the Emperor. I just always advise them, look, you can either play the interesting side or you get to watch me do a lot and understand the game from what I'm doing. And usually the new player is more inclined, with the kind of players that I have, to, hey, let me see how the game works before I have to make any serious decisions. Well, unfortunately, that can last to here. All right, let's start with the first turn. So although I used to aim for Starkeep as my first move, I've become more and more inclined to go for the Ahostarian attack to begin with. I think it's a little more risky overall because the launch against Starkeep is more difficult, but I don't have to commit as many forces. I just have to kill this one unit eventually, which I can use my big Death Leader for. So everybody's coming here. This is important because it's 2, 4, 6 movement points. That's settled for a siege engine for me to move my main stack there. And that keeps me on the base attrition table where I only have a 50% chance of losing one step or one unit. And here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 using air movement only. You'll see air units cross-referenced with mountain, pay 2, but otherwise 1 over there. So I can get to both with all my units, essentially. Now, I've got some other tricky things I want to do, though. For one thing, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move Measle. I'm going to send him over here to Talmorn. Because he has the Terror Rune, he's got a slightly advantageous chance of gaining another Terror Rune leader in the diplomacy step. If we look through these, recruitment, taxation, we don't get to do those. And then movement, well, we're in the midst of that. None of my magic affects movement. So I'm in the midst of my movement phase. Now here's where things get tricky, because I have to figure out how many guys I want to send into each of these 2 hexes. If I don't make it with enough men, I may have to send another stack on the attrition table to the same hex. I want to make sure I have good odds. What are good odds? Well, one of the important things is to be able to kill, using my Death Rune, what I'm going to send. So I'm going to send Patarch Darchoim this way with some vampires. Now this is only going to have a strength of... Oh, by the way, one issue that I mentioned in the rules, I was wrong about my impression, which is you're only allowed 1 heroic leader per combat, which means only one counts in his value. So if I had kept Measle in one of these attacks, I could use his magic to scare units away, but I couldn't use his extra strength point in the his extra modifier on the die roll table. So here I'm sending Patarch Darchoim. He's my big guy. He's got the bigger magic. I don't know which way to send. I'm looking at Earth and Metal, neither of which I think can do anything in the combat phase with their magic. Earth. Oh, no, this one does happen in combat. And Metal does not. So the Earth magic guy can... Well, entrenchments aren't going to happen. He can do an open chasm to try to kill a unit. That might be of some value. And he can do that multiple times, actually. He's got a 3-point Earth Rune, so he could cast multiple shots at this. So I think I'll send Talmorn this way, because that Metal Rune isn't going to help him. Okay. So now the question is, how many guys do I want to have here? Well, I don't want to overload my stacking limitations. So with Talmorn, I'm going to send... Stacking here will be civilized stacking. And, you know, you get used to this all the time. So that's 4, plus the city value of 3. I could have up to 7 units there. Stacking here, I can have only up to 6 units there 4 plus 2. I'm going to split them 5 and 5, I guess. Wait, 1, 2, 5. There he is. Okay. I'm going to split them 5 and 5. I'm going to send the siege engine here. So that siege engine will be with Attrition, and we just have little boxes for all the leaders to keep their forces in. And we'll send the rest of the vampires with Tolmorn. I could take a chance and try to wipe this space out, but I believe in overwhelming force. I am on a time limit though, but I'm not going to be able to catch. Basically, I'm going to. If I could catch this early, that would be cool, because then I could move everything up here and down here. So maybe I want to send after this. This is going to be 3 strength points. The problem with this is I've got that damn. It's a city, so it doubles things, and I've got the -2 due to defending in a mountain. I don't think I can take all 3 at once. So let's do my attrition rolls here. And for this, I need dice. I'll use standard Avalon Hill dice. Okay, so I'm on the 1 to 6 table with the Tolmorn group. And I get a 1, I'm safe there. Over here for Attrition, I get a 2, I'm safe there. If I had taken a loss in this stack, I would have a choice between losing my siege engine, which I cannot rebuild, and my regular units. Now, I could have also left a Death Rune leader behind here in order to try to raise those units. I don't really want to do that yet. It's kind of a painful way to add to your troops because you're using up one of your attack leaders. But if you can't move quickly enough, sometimes it's worth moving over and grabbing one of those or exploring a magic hex. Okay. But right now I don't have that kind of time. Now the runes here, there's an earth rune, which is a pity. That adds 1 to his strength. Would have been nice if I came in a death rune space, but I don't know if there are any. I'm sure there are, but I don't know where they are, and I don't have them yet. Okay, so Tolmorn is here. Now, for the magic phase, what's not absolutely clear is who gets to cast spells first in a combat. What I generally do is allow the attacker to get the first shot off and do it in a pulsed manner, but that's no guarantee that it's supposed to be done that way. I just like it better because it gives the Necromancer a little advantage in this early phase. So Tolmorn's going to be firing off a 2-point death spell on this guy. He failed. This guy doesn't have a counter, so I'll go with a 1-point death spell. I really do need to kill him, and this will help my chances. I do not succeed there either. So I've used both my magic points. Now there's no way to really record that in the game. I'm going to continue this combat and then I'll move on to that one. And then we'll see what, if any, turn the Kingdom player has. He'll have a little bit. Okay, so we have a strength of 4 here. Now I've got 5 of these magic vampires, which gives me a strength of 15. 15 to 4 means I have a 3 to 1 odds only. But I have +2 for heroic combat ratings, comparing the two. So, how many dice do I roll? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't remember if it's 1 or 2 dice for combat. I assume it's 1, because 2 dice would create a real problem. So, I've got 3 to 1 odds, which means I have a +2 from the odds themselves, and I have a +2 from my leader, so I'm a +4 to the die roll. We'll see what I get. I get a 5 + 4 is 9. That's a 3R. You can see it's a very simple combat system. This guy's dead. Now, If I had more death magic available, I could try to raise the dead, but I can't, so he's going to show up in the box and be available for rebuilding. Now, this guy's got to make a survival check. He could be killed here. Nope, he escapes. And he's allowed to really run anywhere he likes. I'll throw him here because he can go as far as he likes on his turn. There's no limit to movement of leaders. That's a bad sign because it means I can go to Starkeep and raise those guys, and now the Kingdom player is active. This was a risky move. You can see I had a pretty damn good chance of killing him. Oh well. Alright, over here, again I want to increase my chance of killing by using Attrition, his magic. He fails. Now I'm going to give them a chance. Now what can they do? Well, the earth magic doesn't really help much when you're already defending in a city. So he's going to try to kill a unit. And he needs a 3, or actually a 4, because he started out at better magic. That's why it's important to kill him using magic. He succeeds, so one of these greater vampires under Patty Boy is gone. It can come back though, it's not permanently killed. Attrition gets a second shot at 3. He doesn't kill. We've got a 3 to kill another unit. That succeeds. And it's not looking well at all for the evil player. Now we're at a 2 magic rating for both. And now finally a 1. Attrition is going to continue trying to kill him just to increase his odds of doing so. And he's going to keep trying to wipe out vampires because, well, it's what he does best. So here we have a strength of 4, 8. And the vampires only have 9, so it's a 1-to-1 attack. No modifier for that. Attrition only adds 1 for his leadership ability. Oh, it's not a strength of 8. It's only a strength of 4 because I have the siege engine there. Okay, so, by the way, this is the first game that I can remember with counters that look like this. This is a style that shows up in SPQR. And it really appeals to me, the bordered counters. Even though it eats up some of the counter space, it adds some, I don't know, an attractive look to me, the same way Magic cards with their black borders did. Okay, so where were we anyway? Strength of 4 here versus a strength of 9. That means 2-to-1. I have a +1 from that and a +1 because my heroic ability is 1 higher. So I'm at a total of only +2, and this is going to be a harder fight than the last one. I get a 7. That's 2 units in a retreat. 2 units is all they had. No more death magic left, so these go back here. And now again we have a survival check there. He needs a 1 to survive. And he doesn't get it this time. So he's in the dead bag. Now he's actually dead here, which means if the Kingdom player could get a life rune there, he could win. He could bring the character back. He can't do that, so I'm gonna put him aside because I need new bags. I've been using just a couple big old Ziplocs, and now with all my GMT bags, I'm gonna put 1 per kingdom for the most part into bags, just for easier sorting and play. So our success has been limited. We've got a leader open, which means Starkeep can open up, and we can start seeing enemies flowing in right from the beginning. That creates real problems for the Dark Emperor player. We also haven't gained that much. We got 2 cities. We've got 1, 2, 3 to go. It's going to be a rough slog, and some of these are over the mountains where we have a hard time getting to them in force. Because look at what we've got to do to get here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I could roll on this table, which is probably what I'm going to do, the higher attrition table with higher losses. But if I stopped part way, I couldn't keep my big stack there, which is you generally do want to fly to your next destination or march to your next destination rather than stopping part way, because unless you have a small stack, the areas in between cities are hard to forage in. So you have to split up your forces, and that means they'll take higher attrition overall, which is a little weird. Not at all like Crusades, where splitting up your forces is this huge advantage. Okay, so there we're, I believe, halfway through the turn, and we're going to be over on the kingdom turn. Come back after a brief rest. Oh, geez, I forgot the last phase of the game of the turn, which is the diplomacy segment. So Measle is here with his 3 magic. That's terror magic. Now again, I think he gets to fire it off 3 times. He's going to do that. And this is working on Untitled Chapter. Where he has a +1 to the die roll. Now he'd have to get a 10 on 2 dice to succeed, but he gets 3 chances to improve that. So let's see the first, the second, he's not doing well here, and the third. So he needs a 9 + 1 is 10. And we get that, so Untitled is now on my side. And I have to kind of remember that there aren't, well, can do this. Who is this here? This is Stromarin. And if I can find his little space, I can put him there, and that'll help me remember that that's under my command. There. I don't like keeping the boats under the leaders. There's no reason you can't, but the reason I don't like to is that they're kind of weird and they move weird. So that's gonna change some of my decision making. I have to try to decide what to do with these guys, which direction they want to head in the long run, in order to start building up forces and position myself to, say, attack La Marche. Those are hard though, because these are much more accomplished troops, and I'm not going to have vampires to help me. These guys are a little easier, but I don't have boats that can get there. My naval action would require me to go through here. There's no river or anything to get me into the side, so I'd have trouble getting there. Another option would be an attack here on Ferlari, which works well in conjunction with Stavrohr. That's the only place Stavrohr tends to attack, except if a Attrition is still in play, they can attack that. Alright. Well, let's do the Kingdom's player turn, because we'll see some new things here too. Okay, for the Kingdom's player turn, the first thing we have to worry about is recruitment, which has taxation. Now, for taxation, there's a base value of 56 here. Let me do a quick calculation of how many points Starkeep has to see which way this, because I'm not sure what the valuations are. So Starkeep has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hexes, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I think the cities count for both the value they would normally have plus the value of the city itself. So let's figure out how much under 56 this Attrition has to spend right now. Okay, so I have taken the forges here. That's worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. And I've taken this 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, the rivers add 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm 17 points off the total. 56 minus 17 is 39, so I'm going to have 39 bucks. I have to keep a running total of these somewhere, but for now I'll just put it on the calculator. I want to build some troops. There's not much use for navies right now for me, and all I have to build are infantry. So how much do infantry cost? Infantry cost me 10 bucks each, so I'll build 3 of them. I'm only allowed to build 1 per area, 1 per city, and that's exactly what I have. And somewhere or another I'll be writing down extra $9 that's carried over during other turn for the next turns. Now, if I lose control, if this area is conquered, I can no longer build, but it gets to keep its treasury value for whatever that's worth. The Kingdom player, he's facing two very powerful stacks of vampire units. He can't really attack them. He's also got his forces spread out and in the most defensible place I can be. Now, I could move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or no, I'm sorry, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Make an attrition roll, probably lose most of my units. The best thing I can do is actually sit where I am. But there's one guy who's got to move, and he'll charter a little tiny boat or whatever. He's going over here. He's going to do the diplomacy roll, and that's all I'm doing this turn. Well, actually, I'm here with Metal Dude. Could he have been somewhere? No. Okay. So he could actually do some metal magic. The forges are fire. Yeah, there's a metal space here I could have gone to. That would have been a wise place to be. I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna start here instead. My retreat's gonna be to here. That allows me to do some metal magic during movement. I think I'm allowed to do that before movement. Let me make sure. I don't think there's any restriction that stops me from moving after I do that. Although these seem like kind of ritual spells, some of them. Most movement spells do not. Yeah, there's a specific magic phase. I knew that. And this is indeed a movement roll. So I can do this during my movement phase. So I'm going to make some rolls. I've got a strength of 5 on magic right now. I'm going to create... So it's my choice between a living sword and a hero's sword. The living sword doesn't do me a whole lot of good unless I can beat the enemy. So I'm going to create a hero's sword for my first one. But I get to keep rolling because remember, I can carry as many magic items as I like. I can just only use one. So now I'm a strength 4 and I get another one. I'm going to create a living sword. And I think that's enough for now. I don't want to carry too many swords around. It's pretty easy for me to make those with metal mages. Now during my movement, I'm going to fly over here to the Keeper. I'm going to try to convince him that I can't just give him that, but I can try to convince him with diplomacy. This is Starkeep, and I've got a +8. So I need to roll a 2. Well, that's not going to be hard. They automatically convert over, and Starkeep is now in play as a kingdom's power. That's going to cause some serious problems because the Keeper, remember, has not only Serenity magic, which makes converting things much easier, but he's also a decent leader, which is a big factor. He's a 3-point hero, a 3-point mage. He's got the staff, which makes a 4-point Serenity. He's going to probably be able to get Zola Hrothgar over. And this is one of the issues with the game. If you don't whack him right away, or if you don't kill the leader here right away, or whatever, you have this chance of letting loose the kingdom, and it will be quite powerful. So, you know, if they bring Zola Hrothgar into play, that changes the whole nature of the game, and it makes the situation much tougher on the Dark Emperor. What I've normally had happen when I play opposed is, gee, I get really lucky with the Dark Emperor. When I play Solitaire, it tends to be a pretty fair wash. Alright, this one's going up too. This is the end of the first turn. Now, later turns I'm going to go into a lot less detail, I think, unless we see something really exciting going on. I don't want to zoom in on every battle, and I don't want to check every die roll in front of you, because, you know, that would void my chance of cheating. Now, it's just a matter of tiredness, really. I think it's boring for you to watch every single action in a game, and I know that it's kind of painful for me to present them.